In this video, let's talk about building a robust, holistic prompt structure that can help with our ChatGPT needs. One prompt structure that can help us produce all different types of content and tasks that we want ChatGPT to accomplish for us, so that you will not need another one. Now, after creating 5 to 6 courses related to generative AI and teaching more than thousands of students, what I've realized is that these are the 6 main components that go into the prompt structure, which are task, context, example, persona, format, and tone. Keep in mind, these are not compulsory to have in each and every prompt. Some of these can be good to have, and that's why the hierarchy matters here. So task and context are mandatory, and I would highly recommend you to keep them in your prompt each and every time. Whereas persona, format, and tone can be considered optional elements, and it's good to have but not necessary. I'm going to start with a very basic prompt which has context, I am fat, and give me a gym plan. And GPT will be smart enough to give me an answer based on the context here, which is I am fat, and give me a gym plan, which is my task here. Now, if I run the same prompt, but this time I'm only going to say I am fat, which is just the context, GPT will not be able to figure out what I'm exactly looking for in this case. But on the other hand, if I say give me a gym plan, that would work because I have provided a specific task for GPT form. This is the reason why task is higher up in the order than all the rest, because without task, your prompt can't work. But without context, maybe it can. Lastly, I would like to mention, don't overfit. If something doesn't fit, if the element doesn't apply in your specific prompt scenario, don't use it in that example and move on. Now, let's go through each one of them one by one and understand them in more detail. Now, the task usually refers to the action verb that you use in your prompt. Write, create, analyze, discuss, brainstorm, so on and so forth. Now, the task could be a very simple task such as write me a 100-word blog on World War II, or it could be a multi-step task such as find me the best 10 seller books on World War II, summarize the key points for each one, create a report for me on World War II, so essentially providing 3 different tasks in one. Next, let's talk about context. Now, the problem with context is that essentially there could be an infinite amount of content related to that topic that could be provided as content. So your job as a prompt engineer is not to provide all the information, but only the relevant information. So it's more about crunching down and summarizing the most relevant information and putting that into your input prompt. And the way I would suggest you do it is to think about 3 questions in every scenario. And I will show you this by an example. So let's go back to our previous example. And our starting prompt was, I'm a 70 kg male. Give me a 3-month training program. Here, 3-month training program is my task, whereas 70 kg male was the basic context I provided. Now, I'm going to provide it 3 more variables. One is the background relevant in this situation, the outcome or how the success looks like, and third, the environment or the audience that I'm in right now. Now, the user background in this case will now be, I'm a 70 kg male looking to put on 5 kilograms of muscle mass over the next 3 months. I only have time to go to the gym twice a week and 1 hour each person. My 70 kg becomes further user background. My success is 5 kgs of muscle mass, and the environment is that I want to go to the gym twice a week, 1 hour sessions. And now when I run this prompt, I get a much more precise and customized, personalized answer based on my specific requirements. Pause and read if you're interested. And now our 100-day plan is ready. The next prompting technique that I want to talk about now is examples. Now, from all the research that has been done on large language models, it's a very simple conclusion that every researcher reaches. The more examples you provide of the output you want, the better job LLM will do in creating that output for you. It's just like working with humans. If you train a human on what kind of output you want, the human will get better and better over time in providing you that sort of an output. So that's the exact same idea with examples. The more examples you provide, the more ChatGPT learns to answer the question in that specific way. So now I'm going to teach ChatGPT to write the resume bullets by providing an example of a template here. So what I'm doing is, I have a few resume bullets from my resume, and I told ChatGPT use this template to update the resume bullet points below. Accomplished X by doing Y, that results in Z. Now, if I want, I can switch it to a different template that I want, for instance, the star template. And now GPT will convert these bullet points based on the template that I provided, based on the example that I provide. GPT came back and updated the bullets exactly the way I expected it. Next, I can also give an example of a context of a reference document to use when writing an answer. So in this case, I uploaded a sample resume and I said, based on my resume, write me an answer for the interview question, what is my biggest weakness? Use the STAR framework, situation, task, action, result instead of a long form interview answer. I just added it to get my answer concise so that I don't have to read a lot of it. So now GPT is trying to give me two different answers. You'll come across with this now and then where OpenAI is trying to give you two answers and get your output on which one is better so that they can train the model for future use case. Now, based on my experience, ChatGPT will go on and write the situation, task, action, and result and provide me with the information that I need in this case. Now, another way to use example is to provide a sample example and ask ChatGPT to write in exactly the same. Here, I'm saying write me a job description for the same role in my company using the example provided. And I provided the name of my company, which is Mr.Chatgpt.ca. If you want to visit and look at the videos and the resources that I've published there outside the courses. And here's the LinkedIn post about a job description job that I was looking at. So if I provide this link, start again. So now this time GPT will create a job description which will be very similar to the job role here. And this one contained a lot of HRE words. So that's what I expect here GPT to do as well. The fourth element in the prompt structure on our list is persona. And persona essentially means who do you want the AI to be in that specific scenario to be able to help out you the most. And I can think of three ways that you can answer this. You can ask it to be an expert, you can ask it to be a celebrity, or you can ask it to be something completely fixed. If you're injured, you want it to act like an experienced doctor and give you advice accordingly. If you're working on a data analysis project, you want someone with a lot of data analysis experience so it can guide you and train you in the right direction. If you're working on your resume, you want it to be a hiring manager who can provide you feedback and update your resume and cover letter in your interview start. So depending on the job at hand, you can call in ChatGPT to be an expert on that thing and do the job that way. The next thing you can ask ChatGPT to be is emulate the role of a specific celebrity. Now, this works in specific situations only for me. For instance, if I want product market fit analysis, I can ask ChatGPT to be Steve Jobs. Similarly, if I want help from Warren Buffett, I'm going to ask questions about fundamental investment analysis. I won't ask him about how to fix my tap, right? So based on the topic at hand, you can call in the relevant celebrity to give you mentorship and advice in that scenario. And GPT does this really, really well. You should try it out definitely. Lastly, if you want advice on a YouTube content, you can ask it to be early adopter. Now, the third way you can think of using ChatGPT is to be something completely fictional. Like you can ask it to be Jesus or God and give you advice accordingly. Or in this example, I'm going to ask it to be Alfred to my Batman and write an email to James Gordon asking for update on the crime rates in Gotham City. Something completely functional, but GPT will be able to emulate that scenario and write me an email similar to the style of Alfred from Batman. Alfred Pennyworth, personal assistant to Bruce Wayne. Now, there are three things to note about formats. First of all, there is a lot of variety of different formats that are available. All you need to do is close your eyes and think, what is the ideal format that you want to see your output? If the answer is bullet points, ask ChatGPT to give you that. If the answer is paragraph format, ask it to do that. Checklist, email, cover letter, resume, whatever the format be, specified in the prompt and it will do the job for you. The second thing to note is that you can use format in key subtle ways. For instance, here I have a report from Bain & Company which talks about the emerging technology of generative AI. First, I provided it context saying, I just received this lengthy report on AI from one of my students. First, give me the three key takeaways and then summarize the main points under each one. So this is my multitask in this one and write a report for me. This is again my task, but here this is where I talk about format using H2 as section headers. And now when ChatGPT delivers the report for me, it will make sure that all the headings are in H2 template. And as expected, GPT does a great job of finding out three major key points from the report and summarizing them for me using the H2 as headline. Another smart way of using format is to ask GPT to make the changes that you're doing bold, italics, or underline so that it's easy to follow through. So just to give you an example, I'm going to say here, make this first person. Bold changes you. So now as it's going to start talking in the first person as I and me and us, it will continue to bold the changes it's making. So here you can see it made it, I have noticed bold is categorized by bold because these are the changes it's making. So making it very difficult for me to follow through by updating the format in a specific way. Now, last but not the least, let's talk about tone. Now, tone could be happy, excited, motivated, angry, and there are numerous combinations. And based on the tone that you provide ChatGPT, the writing will be highly impacted by it. Now, in a professional setting or when you're working, you might come up with scenarios where you don't know exactly what sort of tone are you going to go with. So a good way to think about this is to think about the feeling that you want to convey with your writing. And you can ask ChatGPT as well to help you out. For instance, I can say, I'm going to write an email to a group of professionals. I have started working with them recently and I want to be taken seriously by. So this is how I'm defining my thinking here. I'm saying I want to be taken very seriously. Give me 5 keywords that I include in my input prompt to ChatGPT for the tone to follow while writing. We'll cover similar techniques later in the course when we talk about reverse engineering a prompt, but that's what we're trying to do here. We're saying there is a specific type of feeling that I want to do, reverse engineer the right keywords for the prompt for me. And now what I expect GPT to do is to come back with a list of keywords that will fit the description of very seriously. Formal, respectful, concise, automative, authoritative, and thoughtful. Now, if I don't like this, I can always ask for more, or whatever I like, I can pick them up and use them when I'm building my prompt structure to emulate that specific tone of voice in my writing. Now that you've gone through all 6 elements of a prompt structure, let's bring it all in by creating one massive good prompt that contains everything that we have studied so far in this lecture. So my prompt is going to be something like this. I start with a persona element. I say, you are a senior marketing manager at Bank of Montreal. That's where I work, by the way. Context example. You have just unveiled the latest credit card in collaboration with Apple. It's called Apple Credit Card and received 1,000 pre-orders, which is 200% higher than the target. I've provided the relevant context and example to ChatGPT, specific points relating to audience, achievement, and the environment. Next is my output. The email, so I defined the type of the output I want, should include a project background, business results section, and end with a section thanking the products and engineering team. So this is also kind of an output plus an example template plus the context. So a couple of things merging together here. Next, I talk about tone. Use clear language, be concise, write an exciting and energetic friendly tone. And lastly, the task, which is essentially to write an email to my boss sharing. Now, if I let this prompt go, I will get very clear, concise, written email based on the information that I've provided. So let's take a pause and read through the email and understand what it's saying. GPT comes back with the email that I expected from it. It has 3 sections, providing the project background, business results, and the acknowledgements, as I mentioned in the prompt. But if you pause and read it, you would have realized that this is still very generic AI content. I can further improve this by providing more examples. And that's what I want to talk about next. So same prompt. So persona is the same. The context is the same. We're still talking about the credit card with 1,000 pre-orders and 200% higher than target achieved. The task is still the same. Writing email to my boss, sharing the news. But now in example, we're going to dig further down and we will say emulate the writing style of the example provided below. And here is the writing style that I copied from an email of Ali Abdal, who's one of the famous YouTubers who talks in a very informal tone about very complex business topics. So I copied his writing style, and now what I expect is, now if I give this prompt to GPT, what I expect is that my answer will have an informal tone to it, although it will adhere to all the other elements of the prompt structure. Specifically, when it comes to the tone, it's going to be very informal tone, just like humans will write it, because now I'm giving it a human example and making it right in that specific scenario. Just to give you an example, I really have to shout out to the product and engineering teams for pulling off something this spectacular. The dedication, creativity, and hard work had truly paid off, crafting a product that's not just a credit card, but a leap in the future of the financial service. Let's keep the momentum going and continue to aim for a star. Thanks a ton for your leadership and support in making this dream a reality. So now it doesn't sound like AI generic content. We have been able to emulate the writing style of Ali Abdal by providing his email as an example, while adhering to the prompt structure and making sure all our elements are there. So very powerful writing technique that can definitely help you out in coming up with high quality writing output.